Hi there, Chris here from the Compelling Communicators community, and I am going to share with you today an analysis I did. Now, I did this as part of our weekly Q&A call, so it was something I did in a call, so I've clipped that out of the call so you don't have to watch the whole thing. And we're just going to go through Molly Wright's talk. I do explain this a little bit in the video, but I may as well give you the overview to begin with. Molly Wright's talk was one of the biggest, I think it was the biggest TEDx talk of the year 2021. It had over 50 million social media views and over 10 million, I believe, on the TEDx platform itself, or TED platform itself. And it's a little bit interesting because it was a talk that was commissioned by an organisation. I haven't checked out which organisation it was, some early childhood organisation, who basically organised for this to be created. They, I imagine, created the script and they engaged Molly to deliver it. And Molly is a child actor, which may not be something new if you've seen this before, and many people have seen this video before. But I'm going to break down a few things throughout this video. So without getting into any more of that, let's check out the video. So let's start playing this.
What if I was to tell you that a game of peekaboo could change the world? Sounds impossible, right? Well, I'm here today to prove it's not. Hi, I'm Molly, and I'm 7, and this is my little friend Ari.
Okay, so I just want to give a bit of a setup for this. So in 2021, this was the biggest TEDx video on views for the year. It was about 10 million, I think, on TED itself, but it had over 50 million views on social media. So what I wanted to start off with in terms of analysis is, first of all, this is a little bit more performative. Now, I don't see that as a bad thing. The whole point of a TED event, a TED talk, is it is performative. It's not a lecture. It's not all about knowledge. So part of the performative thing, obviously, is this is a 7-year-old giving this talk. And you barely heard that because she said, I'm 7, as she turns around there, but she's 7 years old, Molly. Now, the interesting thing about Molly Wright is she's an actress. She's an actor, a child actor. And she's been doing acting for several years. So she's learned all these lines. She's treating this like an acting gig, which it is. And I mention that because, honestly, that's what you want to treat your TEDx talk like as well, as an acting gig. You are the person acting, being the person you are, if that makes sense. Just that mind switch will change things a little bit and gives you a little bit more of a focus on things. The other thing I wanted to stop and mention here was the way she started it out. I want to tell you that peekaboo can change the world. So it's a question, or she didn't say it like a question or a rhetorical question or whatever, that makes people think. It's that hook thing. And you want to start off with the question, what if, I think that might have been what she said, what if peekaboo could change the world? And you're sort of going, straight away, the audience is like, well, how would that be? As soon as people are questioning themselves or posing questions in their minds, you've got them. That's engagement. So that's a really good way. It's not the only way. There are millions of ways to do anything, but it's a good way to get people's interest right at the beginning. So we got her interest right at the beginning. First of all, the baby on the stage was quite unique. So that obviously got people's attention. Then a 7-year-old comes out, that gets their attention. Then she makes this claim with peekaboo. But we will carry on from there. And I'm going to turn this mic off so it doesn't echo.
Say hi, Ari. Hi. Oh, and this is my neighbour, Amajot. He has to take Ari away now to get ready for our experiment. But don't worry, they'll be back. My talk today is about some powerful things you grown-ups can do that shape us as children and the adults we become. How do I know? Because my parents and people around me did them, early and often. I know not all kids are as lucky.
Okay, so the important thing to note here is she's framed the talk. This is what we're talking about. It's not just a spectacle. We're talking about this thing. This is what people are going to get out of this talk, right? So that's important. And the use of the slide is very specific. So I talk about this a lot with my speakers. You don't want slides up behind you all the time. You have a lot of blank slides, black slides in between, and you will click the slide on. So she knows exactly when to click. This is part of her script. She knows when I get to this point, I click the slide on and people have something to look at. And it reinforces that, in this case, early and often. And then she'll click it off and there'll be a blank slide. As soon as the slide, because the audience is looking at you, then they'll look at the slides and then they'll look at you when the slide turns off. So if you're doing anything on stage and you're delivering that important line, that very important thing, you switch off the slides and everybody will look at you. And then you deliver that impactful line because they'll remember you gave that impactful line. Otherwise, if it's just written up there, all they remember is writing it and they don't link it to you. So she does this very well in here. Now she's getting into a little bit of emotion. So I'll just scrub back just a little bit there. Turn my mic off.
Them, early and often. I know not all kids are as lucky. Some of my friends, some kids at my school, and many around the world. And I would really like to help change that. Thanks to scientists, we now know just how important the first 5 years are for our health and development, especially our brains. Ari started learning long before he was even born, from inside his mummy's tummy. When Ari was born, he was tiny, and he cried all the time. He was always hungry, and he pooped a lot. Now, he laughs and giggles and makes funny noises. But those are just the changes we hear and see. There's way more going on inside. So, let's talk more about our brains. The blue bag.
Whoops. Okay, so I wanted to just note the way she's doing her crowd work. She's talking to all the audience all the way around. And this event is a semicircle around her, which is not usual. Often it'll be a normal flat stage. So you're usually scanning in an arc in front of you, but you actually practice this. So when you're practicing your talk, you might even be against a blank wall. Practice giving your talk and shifting at the natural pauses between different parts of what you're saying. And it will make the audience feel much more like it's much more interactive. And it's useful to do that against a blank wall because when the lights are on you, you cannot see the audience. You might see the front row. And the problem with that is if you just keep looking at the front row, everybody else feels neglected. So you have to practice your eye shifting. And she does this really well. She also looks back at the screen a bit, which I'm not a fan of, but she's 7. So anyway, let's carry on.
Is the rough size and weight of a healthy baby's brain at birth. The red one is a baby's brain after the first year. It almost doubles in volume. And by my age, it's almost 90% the volume of an adult brain. Our brains develop faster in our early years than at any other time in our lives. It can create up to 1 million neural connections every second. But we need your help. Our healthy development depends on these top 5 things. 1, connecting. 2, talking. 3, playing. 4, a healthy home. 5, community. All of this helps our brains and us reach our full potential. So what's something you can do that can really make a difference? Scientists call it serve and return.
Okay, so this is really important, I think. So she's gone through a 5 steps, 5 things that people can do that's really important. And that's a framework. And in different TEDx talks, you can do that framework one at a time, or just do the 5 out like that. If it makes sense, keep it simple like that. The important thing here is she's saying, what can you do? And this is something I see lacking in a lot of TEDx talks. There should always be a call to action for the audience. It doesn't matter if you're an activist or a business person or whatever your talk is, there should be a call to action. Now, it's not a sales thing necessarily, although that could probably not in a TEDx talk, but in a other talk, a sales thing is a call to action, makes sense. But if I tell you about how climate change is destroying the planet, for argument's sake, and I don't give you, the audience, something you can do, you're going to walk around disempowered. You feel it's out of your hands. But if I can say, you can do this thing, I'm empowering my audience. And so right here with the serve and return, she's empowering you, the audience, saying, hey, here's something you can do to make a difference in child's growth and development. So I just want to put that in because it's really important. And the call to action, this is the middle of the talk. It's not at the end. It doesn't have to be at the end, but it's important that you do have a call to action in there. Okay, let's carry on.
That's just a grown-up way of saying connect, talk, and play with us. And here's the really big news. Amajot, Ari, you ready?
Ready?
Copycat games build imagination and empathy.
And
Naming games build vocabulary and attention.
is it Daddy? Ari, Daddy, Ari.
And games like Peekaboo, yep, Peekaboo, actually build memory and trust. Each time you talk to us, play with us, make us laugh, it not only builds and strengthens our relationships and mental health, it actually teaches us some of the most important life skills. From making friends, to taking a test, to getting a job, to one day maybe even starting a family of our own. Interactions early and often matter. Take it from me, the 7-year-old up here, talking about brain science. Okay, now, let's see what happens when the connection is taken away.
Right, I'm going to interrupt just here because I know what's about to happen. So when I go through my framework, when I'm helping people with their TEDx talk, we spend a lot of time on clarity, what it is we're trying to achieve, all that sort of thing. And just in case you didn't know, this talk was commissioned by Early Childhood Organisation in Australia. They set this whole thing up, and they no doubt did the script and got Molly involved in all the rest of it. So they did a very good job. They know very clear about what the message was they're trying to get across. So once you get that clarity, the next thing I do is, what is the audience logical journey? And the logical journey takes them from where they are right now to where you want them to be. And usually there's a bunch of steps or objection gates, I call them, in between that we've got to overcome. And that's all fine. This is going well, and it's sort of invisible. It makes sense. It's you don't need to think about it. But once we've got the what I call the logical audience journey, we then work on the emotional audience journey. And the emotional audience journey, if you've ever watched any movie, emotion comes from contrast. So if everything was happy all the way through, it's flat. It doesn't register, right? So you need contrast. Emotion works with contrast. So you have to go from high to low to high to low. And every movie will be like that. It will go from sort of here, something will go down, it'll go back up, then it'll go down further, then it'll go up further, and that sort of thing, and it'll build. So what we're about to see here, and I just want you to feel that contrast, is the contrast of the giggling baby we've just been looking at, Ari, to what you're about to see. And this is, if I want to say it badly, a manipulation of your emotions. But that's what performance is. That's what it's supposed to be. So let's just pay attention to this. In fact, I'll just rewind just a little bit and we'll carry on.
From me, the 7-year-old up here, talking about brain science. Okay, now, let's see what happens when the connection is taken away. So now he's trying to get his dad's attention again. He's reaching out like, that was fun, why have you stopped? I know it's important for adults to use their devices sometimes, but kids are hardwired to seek out meaningful connections. Not receiving them causes confusion and stress. Okay, Amajot, please re-engage.
Sorry. Okay.
Now, what if a whole childhood was like that last 30 seconds? How hard it would be for a child to feel calm, to feel safe, to learn to trust anyone, and the lifelong impact that would have. That makes me feel sad. Ari only reacted the way he did and recovered so quickly because the connection between him and his dad is usually so strong. The positive relationships with the grown-ups in our lives gives kids the confidence we need to try new things, to explore, and be a kid.
Okay, so I hope that made sense there, that drop in emotion there. So it went a little bit negative and then it's going positive again. We're going to wrap this up because we're just about out of time. But yeah, we'll just see how she finishes this off and reinforces everything that we've gone through so far.
So please try remember, the most special period for our development is the first 5 years, starting from inside Mummy's tummy. What's something really impactful you can do? Serve and return. And when? Early and often. Please give it up for Amajot and Ari. Every moment together is an opportunity to connect, talk, and play. Imagine the difference we could make if everyone everywhere did this. To us, to children, it's so much more than just a game. It's our future. Thank you. See? Peekaboo really can change the world.
Okay, so that was my analysis of Molly. Before we go on, I just want to talk a little bit about that ending there. So one of the things that strikes me with Molly, and she is an actor, and she's a very good actor, I think, is her timing was excellent. And that doesn't come from just naturally being good at timing. That comes from a lot of rehearsal, a lot of looking back in video and checking and coaching and that sort of thing. The ending there, this is more than just a game. It's our future. That pause is really painful to do live. There are a lot of adults, I mean, I'd have a little bit of trouble with it, but there are a lot of adults that would really struggle to pause, look at the audience the way she does, and then deliver that last line. And she does it perfectly. Chef's kiss. Very, very well. And that's just one example of some of the stuff that she's done throughout this whole talk here. The timing has been excellent. Yes, there are a couple of nitpicky things I could go on about, but very, very few. This was excellently done. It was well structured, professionally script written, I would say. The emotion was layered on properly. It wasn't too long, because the whole thing's what, 7.5 minutes, something like that. So it wasn't too long, but it really hit home. The message was clear, the execution was impeccable, and you can say this is somewhat performative. It's not real, but that's what a TEDx talk should be. It is a performance. If you're pitching to investors, it's a performance. That's what it's supposed to be. And I love this example as a way to show what you can attain. And let's look at it this way. If a 7-year-old can do it, maybe you can too. It will take work. It would have taken Molly a lot of work. And you could go back, and there are a lot of other little things. You could rewatch this video again and again and learn stuff from there. I've watched it several times. In fact, when I first came across it, I was so impressed. That's why when I did a little bit more research and found out that Molly Wright, I'm pretty sure, has her own IMDb profile. It's a few years since I looked at it. But yeah, I found out that she was a child actor, and she did a lot of acting work, and this was another gig for her, and she did it really, really well. So yeah, I hope this analysis has been useful for you. Let me know in the comments if you like it, if you want me to do more of these. As I said, this was part of the Compelling Communicators community. I do a weekly call and we answer questions, and in this week's call I did that middle piece there of the that analysis was part of that call, so I sort of cut that together for this little standalone video. So if you want to find out more about the Compelling Communicators community, it's a free community. I'll put that in the description below as well. Otherwise, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.